The Holocaust stands as a universally recognized testament to humanity's darkest hour. Its horrors are etched into global consciousness, taught in schools, and commemorated with solemn reverence. This profound memory serves as a constant warning against the perils of hatred and indifference. Yet, another vast landscape of suffering from the same global conflict remains largely obscured. The atrocities committed by Imperial Japan across Asia during World War II rarely command the same widespread attention or understanding. Their scale and brutality are often relegated to the footnotes of history. This stark disparity in remembrance compels us to ask a difficult question. Why are Imperial Japan's horrific crimes so often absent from the global narrative? Why do they remain hidden in the shadows of collective memory? We speak of the Nanjing Massacre, a name that should echo with the same chilling resonance as Auschwitz. We remember the comfort women, a euphemism for systematic sexual slavery on an unimaginable scale. The Bataan Death March and the unspeakable experiments of Unit 731 represent depths of depravity that rival any other. This exploration is not intended to diminish the profound significance of the Holocaust. Its unique horror must never be forgotten. Instead, our purpose is to broaden the historical lens, to ensure that the suffering of all victims of World War II is acknowledged and understood. Across the vast expanse of Asia, Imperial Japan unleashed a campaign of conquest marked by widespread and horrific crimes. Their actions left an indelible scar on countless nations and millions of lives. The scale of their brutality is difficult to comprehend. In December 1937, the city of Nanjing, then the capital of China, endured an unspeakable ordeal. Japanese forces engaged in a 6-week rampage of mass murder and widespread rape. Estimates suggest hundreds of thousands of civilians were slaughtered, their lives extinguished with unimaginable cruelty. The system of comfort women represents one of history's most egregious examples of state-sponsored sexual violence. Between 50,000 and 200,000 girls and women, primarily from Korea, China, and the Philippines, were forcibly abducted and enslaved. They were subjected to systematic sexual exploitation by the Imperial Japanese military. The Bataan Death March in the Philippines stands as a chilling testament to the Japanese military's disregard for human life. Tens of thousands of American and Filipino prisoners of war were forced to march over 60 miles in extreme heat. They endured starvation, torture, and summary executions, leading to the deaths of thousands. Perhaps the most disturbing chapter of all belongs to Unit 731. This clandestine biological and chemical warfare research unit conducted horrific experiments on living human beings. Vivisections, frostbite tests, and disease inoculations were performed on men, women, and children, often without anesthesia. These victims, often referred to as logs, were prisoners of war, civilians, and political dissidents. Their suffering was immense, their deaths agonizing. The depravity of Unit 731 represents a profound betrayal of medical ethics and human decency. A crucial and often overlooked factor in the obscurity of these crimes lies in a secret deal struck after the war. American military leaders made a calculated decision that profoundly impacted the course of justice. This clandestine agreement granted immunity to some of Japan's most heinous war criminals. The central figure in this dark bargain was General Shiro Ishii, the architect and head of Unit 731. Ishii oversaw the horrific human experimentation and biological warfare development. He was a man responsible for unimaginable suffering and death. Yet, Ishii and his top associates were never prosecuted for their crimes. They walked free, escaping the justice that awaited many other Axis perpetrators. This immunity was not granted out of leniency or oversight. It was a deliberate exchange. The United States granted these individuals freedom from prosecution in return for their invaluable research data. This data, derived from human experimentation, held immense strategic value for America's burgeoning biological warfare program. Ishii himself was even invited to lecture at Fort Detrick, a key U.S. biodefense facility. The very perpetrators of these unspeakable acts were integrated into American scientific endeavors. Their knowledge, gained through torture and murder, became a component of U.S. military strategy. This decision prioritized Cold War strategic interests above all else. The pursuit of scientific advantage in a new global conflict overshadowed the imperative for accountability and justice for countless victims. It was a pragmatic choice with profound moral implications. The Cold War strategy played an undeniable role in shaping post-war memory. Japan's geographical location and its potential as a bulwark against communism in Asia made it a vital ally for the United States. This strategic importance directly influenced the approach to war crimes. There was a deliberate suppression of evidence and a reluctance to fully prosecute Japanese war criminals. The focus shifted from retribution to rehabilitation, from justice to geopolitical stability. This policy effectively buried many of the atrocities. A deeply ingrained racial bias also contributed to the disparity in attention. Atrocities committed against Asian populations received significantly less coverage and empathy in Western media and public discourse. The suffering of European victims, particularly Jewish victims, resonated more profoundly with Western audiences. This bias meant that the stories of Nanjing, the Comfort Women, and Unit 731 were largely ignored or downplayed. The victims were often seen as the others, their pain less relatable or less urgent. This selective empathy allowed a vast historical injustice to persist. The media and memory landscape further cemented this imbalance. The Nuremberg trials, which prosecuted Nazi leaders, were meticulously documented and widely publicized. They became a global spectacle, a powerful symbol of justice. In contrast, the Tokyo trials, which addressed Japanese war crimes, were far more limited in scope and coverage. They lacked the same international spotlight and public engagement. This difference in media attention profoundly shaped global memory. The narrative of World War II in the West became predominantly focused on the European theatre. The immense suffering and sacrifice in Asia were largely relegated to the periphery. This historical imbalance continues to impact our understanding today. The post-war parts of Germany and Japan diverged dramatically, leading to vastly different reckonings with their wartime pasts. These contrasting approaches profoundly shaped global memory and national identity. Germany faced an uncompromising process of denazification. Nazi leaders were brought before the Nuremberg trials, where many were convicted and executed for their crimes against humanity. The world watched as justice, however imperfect, was served. Germany was compelled to confront its horrific past head-on. Its institutions were purged, its symbols outlawed, and a concerted effort was made to educate its populace about the atrocities committed in its name. This painful process laid the groundwork for a new national identity. Japan, however, experienced a very different outcome. The emperor, a central figure in the wartime regime, was retained. Many of the pre-war elites, including those with ties to the military and ultranationalist movements, also remained in positions of influence. This continuity of power structures hindered a thorough and honest reckoning with Japan's wartime past. The nation was not forced to undergo the same deep introspection and systemic change as Germany. The narrative of victimhood often overshadowed the narrative of perpetration. The consequences of the US deal were particularly stark for medical war criminals. General Ishii and his Unit 731 associates not only walked free, but some even continued to work with US defense programs. Their knowledge, gained through unspeakable acts, was deemed too valuable to discard. This decision sent a chilling message: scientific knowledge, however acquired, could trump justice. It allowed perpetrators to escape accountability and even thrive. This stands in stark contrast to the fate of Nazi doctors who faced prosecution. For decades, Hollywood and the Western press amplified Holocaust narratives, ensuring their indelible place in global consciousness. These powerful cultural forces played a vital role in shaping public understanding and empathy. Yet, they largely ignored Japan's atrocities. The stories of Asian victims remained largely untold in mainstream Western media. This silence contributed to the historical amnesia surrounding Japan's war crimes. It created a void in collective memory that persists to this day. Memory is not merely a historical exercise, it is a fundamental pillar of justice for victims. For those who suffered under Imperial Japan, the lack of widespread recognition compounds their pain. Their stories deserve to be heard, their suffering acknowledged. The victims in China, Korea, the Philippines, and across Southeast Asia endured unimaginable horrors. Their experiences are an integral part of World War II history. Their remembrance is not just about the past, it is about ensuring justice in the present and preventing future atrocities. To truly learn from history, we must embrace its full, unvarnished truth. We must challenge selective memory and confront uncomfortable narratives. The phrase "and never again" must apply to all victims, regardless of their origin or the nature of their suffering. It is our collective responsibility to engage with these forgotten histories. We must seek out the testimonies, study the evidence, and amplify the voices that have been silenced for too long. Only then can we build a more complete and just understanding of the past. By broadening our historical lens, we honor all who suffered. We ensure that the lessons of World War II are truly universal. We strive for a future where no atrocity, no victim, is ever forgotten. Like, share, and subscribe to the Turkish Odyssey for more untold histories. Let's uncover the truths that still shape our world today. Thank you for watching. See you in the next adventure.